Hello everybody, it's me GhostCritic and I'm here with my Friday comic book review video. I'll first kick off by saying sorry about the lighting this evening. Somehow every single one of the bulbs in my living room popped this evening and I'm kind of having to use like lamps and that kind of stuff to get some light in this room. So if I look a bit strange and dark or weirdly lit some places, that's why. This week was another huge week. I had 11 books to read through, so that was 10 in this video, and I had to pick something that was worthy of a pick of the week. It was tough this week. The top end of my books were all so good, and but I picked one in the end. I don't know whether I really thought this through, because as I was kind of doing my notes for like the top end books, I was like, oh, was this as good as this one? Should this have been pick of the week? But I picked one now. Let's crack on with the reviews, and you know what's at the bottom of the pile. It's Batman issue number 51. This is becoming to be much like a French farce. Okay, so in the last issue it was revealed that Clue Master was behind this whole thing, and we all went, come on, you're not pulling the wool over these eyes. There is got to be someone else behind this. And once you get to the end of this issue, of course someone else comes out, and I'm just waiting for issue 52 to be another one behind the curtain who has been manipulating this person, who has been manipulating this person. It's just ridiculous. I wouldn't have been happy about it, but at least in some ways it would have made sense, I use the term loosely, for Clue Master to have been the big kind of reveal. And this issue goes to long lengths to explain it. This idea that Batman concentrates so hard on his kind of top level rogues gallery that he wouldn't even consider, despite being kind of the world's greatest detective, that a C-lister like Clue Master could kind of bring all this about. But Clue Master shows him exactly and tells him exactly how this was possible. And again, I use the term loosely, it is feasible. But of course, by the end of this issue, and spoilers are ahead, folks, if you've not read this yet, the next reveal coming out of the shadows, it's a person that a lot of people hoped it would be, or had somehow worked out it would be. And I would like to know from people who had guessed this already, was it just a guess, or had you seen things that I just not spotted? Because I didn't see much, thinking back, linking this person. The person that has been revealed again as the big kind of puppeteer is, of course, Lincoln March, who was part of the kind of Court of Owls storyline that Snyder used very early on in this new 52 run of Batman, and who was supposedly Bruce's brother. And with one more issue to go, I don't know how they can really wrap this up. Okay, there could be a volume 2. I don't know how that quite ties in with the whole convergence stuff that's happening. That, I mean, does it reset stuff? Is it just an excuse to bring back those old characters that they didn't use? Kind of bring back a little bit of the DC proper history? I don't know. Getting back to this issue, the rest of it is basically interspersed with kind of like all the Bat family trying to hold back the chaos running through Gotham. You've got Commissioner Bard and James Gordon talking a lot about taking back the city, but never actually do. And they've been saying this for God knows how many issues. And then there's a slight aside with Selina, who's kind of holding back from all the chaos, not letting kind of her army take to the streets to kind of loot and pillage. She's waiting, biding her time. But with one issue to go, Selina, you better get your claws out and start doing something if you want to be remembered in this series in the slightest. It's Batman Eternal. It finishes next week, and we can, or at least the most of us, can breathe a sigh of relief. We move on to Justice League Dark from DC. It's issue 40 and its final issue. And it was disappointing. Let's be honest. I think the problem that this title had and the storyline it had currently going was that it knew it had to wrap up in issue 40, and it wasn't going to see the light of day after Convergence. This is one of the titles that has been cancelled. It's not on the list for after Convergence. So DeMatteis had to kind of quickly create an ending to this title, and it is all incredibly convenient. Somehow, despite the fact that our kind of huge god Pralaya, this huge dark entity, has engulfed everything, has engulfed all our heroes, somehow the House of Mystery was able to hide from it, and housed inside there is John Constantine. Only it is not the real John Constantine. This is part of Zatanna's magic. She created him while she was split up from the gang on her own little kind of world wherever she was. And from this kind of facsimile of John Constantine, inside him he can create a kind of facsimile of Zatanna. And this is where it gets really, really convenient, is that despite these, and I gotta say, if they're facsimiles of the real people, surely they are going to be weaker. But they manage, along with a kind of a baby Swamp Thing, which again is sort of a kind of facsimile, fake Swamp Thing. The three of them managed to take down Pralaya, just like that, and help the kind of Tree of Life thing to bring the universe back to life, and everything's good with the world. Hurrah! This is just in time for the real John Constantine to turn up after being off in Earth 2, and then the gang basically just up and leave him, and he's left alone with the House of Mystery, which apparently is how it should be. This wasn't the best of endings. The artwork really... it was terrible in some places. This final issue, I don't know, who was it? Guinaldo, Wong and Sotomayor. I think at least Guinaldo has been on the book for a couple of issues, but I've not noticed the artwork being as bad as it was in here. But bye-bye Justice League Dark. It was nice knowing you, at least for a while. On Marvel's Icon range, Powers issue 2 came out this week, and I have to say again, I was a little bit disappointed with this. I loved the first issue. It was a great kick-off to the series. I know some people may have had a little bit of a problem because Powers has been going for many a year and they weren't sure of the kind of the universe, the characters, what the setup was here. Issue 2 doesn't really help you in any way to get you more acquainted. Bendis does his best. Let's have all our characters talking lots. This is a heavy read. There is a lot to read in this. And And the start of it is this TV interview with the head of, I think it was Gabriel Industries, Ronald or Roland. It was Roland Gabriel, and he was involved in the mass murder at the beginning. And we have him. We find out a bit about him, what he was about, what a great kind of a great guy he was, how he wanted to further humanity for the good, and this may be why he was killed. And interspersed with this, we have Pilgrim and Sunrise without words. We don't get any words of this. Interrogating, meeting up with all the people that knew him to try and get a lead on what is going on. We have Walker continuing his kind of destructive path after the last series of Powers once again losing his power. And so he's basically getting drunk, partying, sleeping around, but he appears to have been sleeping around with the wrong gal. As she is more interested in where his powers are, what he can do, where is his costume, and she just happens to have someone with her and roughs old Walker up a bit, which is a shame. I can't wait to see Walker come back into the fold of the police force, which he must eventually do, and kind of reaffirm himself as a great cop. But this was a very kind of scattered issue. Oeming's art wasn't on point this time. I usually love Oeming's art, but there was something not quite right with this, which was a shame. I do like Powers. It's been a great series previously in all its other volumes. This seems to be kind of floundering a little. I know we're only on the second issue, but as most of us know, you need to grab us in the first few issues if you want us to continue reading. Okay, we move on to Image's Morning Glories by Nick Spencer and Joe Asima. And with Morning Glories, you do have to remember every single thing that has happened in previous issues, because there's so many small touches, not only visually but textually in this, that makes this book actually really clever and well plotted. But you know, you have to be kind of take your comic book readership up a notch if you want to get through this, because with kind of timelines being messed around, characters playing different people in different eras, remembering every single character, it's a tough book to keep going with. This one focuses on the kind of mother-daughter relationship between Ellen, the mother, and Vanessa, one of our Morning Glory Academy kids. And it does the famous Morning Glories, this is what's happened 10 years ago, this is what happened 5 years ago, and this is what's happening now, and jumbles it all up, and it does confuse the reader at times, but it is, do I say a good type of confusion? You have to work at this book, you really do. This is not an easy read, but at the same time it is a rewarding read by the end of it. I believe it's planned to go for about 60 issues. I think I read somewhere, or someone told me, Nick Spencer has issue 60 as the final issue, and I hope to God by then that I will have answers to all my questions, because I don't know if I can go back and read this all again anytime soon. Next up, we've got Goners issue number 6, and this issue did feel incredibly chaotic, rushed and confused, which damaged this book so much. And it did feel like the writer, the creative team is thinking, I've got to fit this story into a trade, as this is the last issue of the current story arc. And it was it was a shame because I do really like this book, but I'm going to have to reread this to kind of fully grasp exactly what went on, because a lot did. It was all over the place. We have this kind of history of the Latimers and the connection to our Dragon Lady, which we have on the front here. There's a kind of little bit about the Latimers' curse and their kind of penchant for flesh. They like a tasty human arm to eat once upon a time. The whole thing is full of kind of like big explosions, big fight scenes. There is a death towards the beginning of this book, but it has absolutely no impact because there is so much else going on. And it's a shame because it does feel very rushed. We've not had a great deal of time to get invested in certainly the character that died. But it just feels like they're making a story conveniently end now so it can be put in trade. And I mean, I've been a supporter of this book in its kind of fantasy, big monster, Saturday morning monster TV show type of deal. It's colourful, it's bright, it's very comic booky, cartoony. It's got that kind of dark edge to it in places, but this final issue of this story arc did nothing to help me recommend this book to any of you this week, which, like I said, it's a shame because it is a fun book. Guardians 3000, issue number, where are we up to? Issue number 6. This is the book that I've been picking up solidly for the last 6 issues, but is yet to be on my pull list. I explained why on Wednesday, I won't go into that again. As much as I enjoy this kind of book, it's very difficult to talk about because basically it is what it is. There is nothing really kind of big going on in the sense that there's layers, because there isn't really. It's not like an Image book. It is a superhero book that tells a story. You join it for the ride and you come out the other side hopefully entertained. That's all this is. Unlike kind of say an Image book, it doesn't have that true kind of depth of storytelling that, you know, you have to think about. And that's not a bad thing. I am not complaining about this book because I had fun with it. There's plenty to enjoy in it, to be enjoyed with it. We have our kind of future Guardians of the Galaxy making this trip through time to come back to the past to stop what is happening in their time. Along the way, they kind of get held up by Galactus himself. They're using him because he's like an old version. They call him the Old Hunger, and he's been kind of stolid and quiet and hasn't moved for obviously many years, and they are using the power within him to get to the past, which wakes Galactus up. And the first words on his lips is our girl in here, Gina Drake. And he understands that she is also a very special young lady, and but also advises Gina that, you know, it doesn't matter what you do, what happens in your time is going to happen. Just deal with it. The universe is going to come to an end, it's going to die, but a new one will be born, and I'll still be here to do it. Even I can't do anything to stop it. So you know this is a big thing. If not even Galactus can save the day, so to speak. So they get back to our time just to meet up with the Guardians of the Galaxy that you all know because there was a big movie about it. And there is a kind of funny scene where they almost, in kind of traditional style, you know, the two superhero teams have a fight with each other, but they don't. And they do, funnily enough, reference that as they sit in a diner talking about what they're going to do next. And it does appear that it's really going to be our Guardians of the Future's fault that all this bad stuff happens, as they've brought one of the asentience robots with them, and that has kind of woken up. It is building more from the kind of resources of our Earth, and there are too many to stop. And that's when our other half of the Future Guardians come flying in. So you've got kind of like 3 different teams of Guardians of the Galaxy, all wanting to save Earth. It's fun. That's all I can really say about this. There is nothing more to it. They're Not Like Us, issue number 4. And this is basically the stuff of nightmares, as the kind of our ragtag bunch of teenagers all get together in the middle of the night to try and outdo each other at how bad their younger lives were. And to a point, because I know some people have said, as they've been reviewing this book and reading it, that they hope that there is a reason, you know, for them to be doing these essentially bad things, and that they're not just out there to just cause chaos. And you do kind of, as you listen to their stories, there is this element of feeling a little bit sorry for them, and that they do have this reason to be so bitter at the world and want to basically, you know, punch back at them. We have the Voice realising that Sid may not be a good fit in the group and wants her kind of, yeah, she's for the chop. But our kind of psychic future teller, fortune teller, seems to be on Sid's side, saying that, you know, she's seen the future, Sid is there, Sid is in our group. You're just going to have to hold back. You may not think she has what it takes right now, but believe you me, she'll be with us. And there is some dissension in the ranks as Sid kind of riles up the rest of the gang, saying, you know, why are we not just going out and having fun? Why do we always have to go out when the Voice tells us to? And then there were those last 3 or 4 pages that were so unnerving, because as they're just about to, yes, let's go out, let's just go to, I don't know, to a bar, to a pub, just have a walk, Sid finds herself in bed and she doesn't know what happened before that. And it's like, is this the Voice using his powers? How much control is he exerting over this kind of evil, for want of a better word, X-Men team kind of deal? And then we have our fortune teller that needs to tell a secret to Sid about the Voice. It's all incredibly intriguing, it's all very mysterious, and I'm super digging this. The artwork by Simon Gain, and of course the wonderful Jordi Belair as colourist, is doing a great job visually on this book. I'm in this for the long haul. We've got Gotham by Midnight issue number 5. This comes to the end of the first story arc, and we have the Spectre towering above the city of Gotham with a kind of more of a battle of the wills, with a kind of supernatural beast made up of, I guess you'd call it, the kind of damaged dead souls of Gotham. This supernatural beastie wanting the Spectre to cast his wrathful eye over all Gotham and basically destroy it. Batman even shows up in this as he tries to kill, destroy, disperse this supernatural beastie, but hasn't got any effect on it. It does kind of get a little bit confusing in the middle as to how they eventually actually defeat it. Was it the Spectre? We have our nun running around praying to God, hoping that, you know, her being of a pure heart will help God assist the city. But of course, everything comes with a very high price, and it's another book with a death in it. It's all about dead people this week. And someone does pay the consequences. One of the team dies. Great artwork as usual by Ben Temple-Smith. I'll be sad to see him go. I'm sure someone's already told me who the new artist is, but I've forgotten. I hope they are a good fit for this great new series surrounding Gotham that doesn't really predominantly focus on the Bat family and more the people that inhabit Gotham, and obviously focusing on this great kind of supernatural cop team headed by Jim Corrigan. I'm having a lot of fun with this. I hope you are too. We've got Deception, Double Crossing and Danger being the order of the day, with issue 5 of Tooth and Claw, The Autumn Lands. What do we call this comic book now? We have Busiek slowly but surely bringing together all these separate threads to what is inevitably going to be a big battle in the next issue. We have Sanderist, the big kind of pompous owl, making a play for power, becoming the leader or trying to become the leader of our group of anthropomorphic wizards. We have Goodfoot laying plans with the Buffalo clan to take over our characters. And while all this is going on, our human champion is kind of making plans of his own. He's got a few tricks up his sleeve that he is not letting on to a lot of people. Again, we get the voice of the kind of bull terrier dog character as kind of are into all this, and his thoughts of what is going on around. And like I said, this is all leading up to what is bound to be a big battle in the next issue. And while I'm looking forward to that, I'm more looking forward to what Busiek will actually follow this on with. What is going to come next after this battle? Who is going to survive this? And where are they going to go? What will be, I guess, the next threat, the next journey that our characters need to make? Will the champion stick around? I really do enjoy this book. Again, Jordie Bellaire. Is there a book that she is not colouring right now? And if there is, why isn't she? Because the artwork in here again is really great, and the colouring is just fantastic. It makes the book pop out. Finally for this video, before you see my pick of the week in the next video up, it's Grant Morrison's Multiversity. It's another of his one-shots. This is Ultra Comics, something that I'm not really aware of or know anything about, and you don't really need to read this. I had no problem enjoying this, which did surprise me because I'm not a great fan of the kind of breaking the fourth wall kind of storytelling where the characters in the comic book talk directly to you. But I had a lot of fun with this, and it is jam-packed with lots of goodies. The idea that, you know, the book is telling you not to read it. It's threatening you not to turn that page and move on, because by doing so you're going to be a kind of an accomplice to the destruction of the universe. The way it kind of eggs you on in telling you that you know, you are going to be part of this, you are the hero that is going to save the day. And then it kind of switches to, come on, read on, read on. It really does kind of bring the reader in. And there are just some great fun elements within this. Seeing the creation of our Ultra character, and we see the kind of the many forms he took through the comic book ages. So we see this kind of golden age version of him, we see a kind of 70s version, then a 90s, right up to the modern day. They were really kind of fun. We have these couple of scenes with Ultra reading the minds of the comic book readers and how kind of snarky they are. The comments that he's reading were kind of funny, and you just know there are people out there that are thinking and saying that as they're reading this book. And then there was the kind of the alien versions of all the superheroes that we know, like the Batman, Superman, Flash. It was packed solid of fun, good, kind of over the top kind of comic book storylines, and I think it did this deliberately. There were kind of elements, you know, you read some comic books from the past and you just think, you know, I know this is a comic book, but even that's ludicrous that has happened, and it does kind of play on that, but it again, as with most of the these one-shots that Grant Morrison has been writing, they have been very self-referential and looking back at the kind of the history of comic books and how they have evolved and come to be what they are now to what they were. Just great stuff. I had a hard choice picking my pick of the week this week, and this came very close to being it. But I hope you will agree with my pick of the week this week, which is coming up straight after this video. Thank you for watching, getting this far. I've had another kind of flurry of new subscribers. Thank you very much for subbing to my channel. I hope you're enjoying yourself. If you're not yet subscribed, there's a subscribe button. Hit it. You know you want to. I'm trying to get to 1,500 before the end of April to make my 5 years on YouTube just that little bit special. But hey ho, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I'm not that bothered. That's it for me this week. I will not waste any more of your time. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. In the comment section down below, let me know what you thought about the books that I read, if you read them too, if you agreed with any of what I said about them, and be prepared for my pick of the week, which will be coming next. Until next week, when I hopefully will have a smaller stack of books. Bye bye.